Radhe Radhe everyone. Mannath Shri Jagannatho Madguru Shri Jagadguru Madatma Sarvabhutatma Kripalu Shri Gurave Namah. Kasturi Tilakam Lalat Patale Vakshasthale Kaustubham Nasagre Varmoptikam Kartale Venu Kare Kanganam Sarvange Harichandanam Sulalitam Kanthe च मुक्तावली गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूड़ामणि नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्ब्रह्मदेवमात्म बुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये. श्री कृष्ण चंद्र चरणारविंद मकरंद मिलिंद महानुभाव, beloved devotees of the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Krishna, as a regular practice, let us chant for a few minutes. भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला ओ भजो श्रीमद् सतगुरु सरकार की, Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki. For the last few days, you have been listening to Sushree Rameshwari Devi ji, my dear spiritual sister, on the significance of this human form of life. And I'm sure you have received some very precious gems of wisdom, gems of divine knowledge, and that you have grasped the fact that the greatest achievement of this human life is devotion, devotion to God. It is to unite our mind with the Supreme Personality of God through the practice of devotion. So this is a topic that I will be elaborating on for the next 2 days, starting today. And it has been chosen from this, the theme, the topic has been picked from the Keertan that we are going to sing now. Just maybe a couple of lines. Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu Pyare. Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu pyare.
Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu pyare.
Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu pyare.
Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu pyare.
साधना ते ही मिले तो ही साध्य हरि रति प्यारे. साधना ते ही मिले तो ही साध्य रति हरि प्यारे. साध्य हरि रति प्यारे.
साधना ते ही मिले तो ही साध्य हरि रति प्यारे. साधना ते ही
Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu Pyare, Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu Pyare, Sadhana Karu Pyare.
Sadhana Karu Pyare, Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu Pyare, Sadhana Karu Pyare.
So in this Sankirtan, it is being repeated again and again. Oh dear one, oh dear soul, do sadhana, practice devotion, do sadhana, do sadhana. Only sadhana will grant you your sadhya, meaning your divine beloved, that is love for God. So the philosophy that I will be expounding on the philosophy behind Sadhana Bhakti, the practice of devotion. What is the science or the scientific method behind practicing devotion, behind Sadhana Bhakti? How should one practice sadhana in their day-to-day life? And what are some of the obstacles or difficulties that an aspirant faces in the practice of devotion? So we will address all these questions, all these topics in the next 2 days. First of all, let me remind you that everything that I will be speaking, the philosophy that I will be speaking, has been revealed by none other than our revered master, Jagadguru Shree Kripaluji Maharaj. And I will be acting as a mere parrot in repeating his divine words and his divine teachings. The knowledge will be all his, of course. And most importantly, to begin with, first of all, let us understand that without visualizing the divine form of God, we cannot begin to practice devotion. Without visualization, without doing Rup Dhyan, meditating on the divine form of God, one cannot begin to practice devotion, it is said. Just as one cannot remain alive without breathing, in the same way, one cannot begin to practice devotion without concentrating the mind on God. Without meditation on Shri Krishna, practicing devotion without meditation on Him is like a body, is compared to a body without a soul that does not possess life or consciousness. So let us begin. Please listen attentively. First of all, there are two types of devotion, two kinds of devotion, and they are called Karma Sanyas Sadhana and Karma Yoga Sadhana. Why two? So that we may practice engaging the mind in God while engaging the body in worldly duties, because we must also perform our daily chores in order to maintain this physical body. So what does this term mean? Karma sannyas. Karma, as you know, means actions, duties, and sannyas means to renounce. So karma sannyas means to renounce worldly duties. And Karam Sannyas sadhana is the sadhana that we must practice in the privacy of our home, in our daily life. When you practice Karam Sannyas sadhana, you must therefore renounce all worldly duties and activities. You must take all worldly relations, duties, and objects out of your mind. The only thing to remember is that Shri Krishna is my beloved Lord and Master, and I am his servant. In other words, the mind must be emptied of the world and filled only with thoughts of Shri Krishna. And then we must take such a mind to an isolated place. In other words, we must sit somewhere where we are sure to be alone. Privacy is of the utmost importance in the practice of devotion. Why? Because we can only practice devotion in private. As the Gita says, Vivikt Sevi Lakvashi, 1852. Practice devotion in private. Why? Because our mind is so mischievous, so turbulent, that if we start practicing, if we try to practice devotion in the midst of people, our mind, which is already so impetuous, so rash, will become even more so. And our goal in the practice of sadhana bhakti is to take our mind away from the world in order to concentrate it on God. So what is the process? What is the scientific method behind it? How can we accomplish this? Let us understand through a wonderful example. Let us say that you have some milk and you add some water to it. Now the water will get mixed with the milk and they will become one. They cannot remain separate. And yet there is a way that milk and water can remain separate. How? Make butter out of milk. So what is the process of making butter from milk? First, you'll need to make yogurt from milk. And then you will need to churn this yogurt and make it into butter. Now, if you take this butter and put it in water, it will float. It will remain separate from the water. As long as it was in the form of milk, it could not do this. Similarly, our mind can be compared to milk and the world to water. When we mix our mind in the form of milk with the world in the form of water, the world enters our mind. In other words, we become absolutely absorbed in the world. So for this reason, we need to practice devotion in private as well, especially in private. So let me elaborate further. So if we think of our mind to be milk, then we can say that through the practice of devotion, one day soon, it will become yogurt. Then we will need to churn this yogurt through further practice of devotion in order to make it into butter. And when it becomes butter, we can take it into the world and it will remain unaffected. Then we will be able to remain in the world while the world will remain separate while we remain in it. Just as a lotus remains separate from the mud that it grows in, although a lotus grows in mud, it develops in mud and stays in mud, yet it retains its qualities, characteristics of purity, beauty, softness, and so on. Similarly, let's take another example. A jackfruit has a sticky liquid inside of it. If you cut the jackfruit, the liquid goes all over your hands. Then no amount of soap or water can get rid of it. So what does a clever person do? He applies oil to the hands before cutting the fruit. This way, the liquid does not stick to the hands. Similarly, we can think of devotion to Shri Krishna as oil, After applying this oil to our mind, even the worldliest objects will not stick to the mind. Then we will remain separate from the world while living in it. The world will stop having its effect on us in the same proportion as our mind is fixed on God during devotional practice. In the beginning, however, the world will most certainly affect us. But eventually this effect will lessen. In the early stages of our devotion, one must be very careful. One must be very careful of the world. We must not allow the world to harm us, or worldly atmosphere, worldly people to harm us in any way at all. For example, when a plant is small, it needs a lot of care. It needs sufficient water. First of all, it needs sufficient water and fertilizer in order to grow properly. Furthermore, it needs protection from other elements such as wind, excess rain, etc., as well as other creatures, so that it doesn't get devoured, it doesn't get destroyed. However, as that plant grows, you need to care for it less and less. And when it becomes a full-grown tree, you don't need to take care of it at all. Now you can even tie an elephant to this tree, and the tree will remain standing. You could not do this when the tree was a little plant. At that time, you could not even protect it from a goat. In the same way, in the early stages of our devotional practice, we must be extra cautious of the world. We should not think that we have attained perfection and that we are free from worldly influence. We are free from worldly influence only when we have realized God, when we attain perfection. So in order to keep the mind detached from the world, you will have to find a private place for yourself, away from everyone else, where you can sit down to practice sadhana. Otherwise, you'll be disturbed again and again. You may get a phone call, or you may have to go to the grocery store and pick up some vegetables, etc. Or you may have to comfort a crying child or a family member at home, and so on. There will be endless interruptions. Therefore, we must become very strict as far as our privacy is concerned. It is suggested that you lock yourself in a room and ask family members not to disturb you for 1 to 2 hours. Even if someone knocks on the door, do not open the door. The person will knock for a day, 2 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, but ultimately he will give up. So we must find a private spot for ourselves to practice devotion. That's one thing. What else is there to do or not to do? Do not worry about facing the east or west, as some aspirants do. And do not give any thought to whether the place you're sitting in is pure or impure, clean or unclean. Why? To give you an example, in the great epic of Mahabharata, Bhishma Pitama, grandsire Bhishma, had one of the greatest heroes of Mahabharata, had instructed his nephews, the Pandavas, to cremate him where no one has ever been cremated before. So after his death, his body was taken to various remote places, such as deep caves and high mountains. But when and wherever they would try to cremate him, the earth, the Mother Earth would say, Shatam Bhishma. The same Bhishma has been cremated in this very spot hundreds of times. In other words, the point is that there's no such thing as a sacred place or a pure place. And yet, the scriptures also tell us, how the Padma Puran states, Apavitraha pavitro va sarvavasthangato piva yasmaret pundarikaksham sabahiyah bhyantarah shuchi. In other words, whether pure or impure, whether clean or unclean, one is automatically purified internally as well as externally by simply meditating on the beautiful lotus-eyed Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna who possesses beautiful lotus-like eyes, who has beautiful lotus-like eyes. This is the meaning of the verse. And so now that you have found privacy, once you have found privacy, you must make Shri Krishna stand in front of you. Remember the importance of visualizing Rup Dhyan, visualizing the divine form of God. Concentrate on Him and have Him stand in front of you. And we have complete freedom in choosing how to meditate on Him. If you find it difficult to visualize Him, feel free to take the help of a picture or an image of God. Pictures or images of God serve one main purpose, and that is to help us concentrate on the Supreme Lord. So we must use them as a base for our meditation, for our visualization. You may choose Shri Krishna from the age of 6 months up to the age of 16 years. The Rasik saints say, do not go above the age of 16. Why? Because Shri Krishna remains ever youthful. He remains in the prime of his youth. He does not exceed the age of 16 in his divine abode Golok. Then, fill this form of a 16-year-old Shri Krishna with infinite beauty, love, sweetness, and gentleness. Let's say you have motherly feelings towards Shri Krishna. In this case, think of Shri Krishna as your little baby while singing a bhajan which depicts motherly feelings towards Shri Krishna. Think of him crawling on all fours. You're having his darshan. Or you may imagine that he's laying in a cradle and Mother Yashoda is rocking him ever so gently. Of course, you may change his form and age according to your feelings, according to your emotions. The most important thing to remember is to have him standing in front of you. Not as an inert object, but as a living personality. When you practice Karma Sanyas Sadhana, using your mind, using your imagination, have him walk around. Imagine that he's walking about here and there. Then he stops walking. Now he just stands there. Now he's looking at you and smiling ever so sweetly. His eyes are filled with infinite love for you. Now he's playing the flute and you are listening to the sweet sound. Now he's coming towards you. You can go on and on like this. On the other hand, some people close their eyes. They have a picture of God in front of them and they close their eyes, and with closed eyes, they meditate on that photo or image. In other words, they are meditating on an inert object. This cannot be called meditation on God. This is meditation on an inert object. You see, what we have to do is to visualize Shri Krishna as a living personality. Although we may take a photo or an image of God, we may keep it in front of us, but keep it only as a base for your meditation. That photo or that image may be small, but out of that photo, have a 5-foot or a 6-foot tall Shri Krishna come out and stand in front of you. Then, begin concentrating your mind on him. Think of him to be your master and yourself to be his servant, as I mentioned. And out of the four main relationships we can establish with God, as you know, the highest is the relationship of the beloved, that is with the Madhurya Bhav, thinking of Shri Krishna to be the beloved. But we must also bear in mind that whether you love him with the Dasya Bhav, that is the servant-master relationship, or the Sakhya Bhav, friendly relationship, or the motherly relationship, Vatsalya Bhav, or the lover-beloved relationship, Madhurya Bhav, the feeling of servitude should be present in every relationship. Why? As Gauranga Mahaprabhu has stated, Jeever Surup hai Krishner Nityadas. And in the Gita as well, it is said, Mamaivansho Jeevaloke Jeevabhutah Sanatanaha. Ishwara Ansha Jiva Vinashi Chetana Amala Sahaj Sukharashi, and so on. In other words, being an eternal part and parcel of God, it is the nature of the individual soul to serve Shri Krishna. Therefore, the aim of every relationship is only to serve him. In fact, another definition of bhakti given in our scriptures, such as Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, is Bhaj Seva Yam. Bhakti means to serve, seva. So therefore, the aim of every relationship is to serve Shri Krishna. He may be your friend, but you will never make him serve you. You will always serve him. In the Bhagavad, there's a wonderful pastime. When Lord Krishna lifted the Govardhan mountain in order to save the Brajvasis, the inhabitants of Braj, from the rainstorm caused by Indra's anger, he used only his baby finger. In fact, he lifted the Govardhan mountain on the front part of the nail of his baby finger, and that too of the left hand. And what did his friends do? His friends, the cowherd boys, they tried to help him by supporting the mountain with their sticks. It is beautifully described in this verse. Unnidrasya yayustavatra viritim saptakchapastisthate hanta shranta ivasi nikchip sakhe Shri Dhamapano Girihi. The cowherd boys said to Lord Krishna, so innocently, they said, "Oh Kanaya, you have been lifting the mountain for so long now. You must be tired by now. Your hands and arms must be aching you. We'll tell you what to do. Why don't you give the mountain to Shri Dhamma for a little while we massage your hands? Or you can now switch hands. You've been using your left hand so far. Give this hand a rest and use the right one. We'll massage your left hand for a little while." So in every relationship, the point is, in every relationship, the feeling of servitude is essential. Whether you love him as your beloved, whether you love him as your son, your friend, your master, you must always be eager to serve him. What's next? Next, we must shed tears in front of him in order to attain his divine love. You may ask, what is the purpose of crying, tears? You see, our 5 sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, twaja, skin, are always running after their subjects in the world. Eyes desire to see beautiful things. Ears are always anxious to hear sweet sounds. The nose always wants to inhale fragrance. And the mouth, the tongue, is ever desirous of tasting different delicacies. Our 5 sense organs are always running after their respective subjects in the world. But now we must make these 5 sense organs develop a keen desire for Shri Krishna. This is our aim in the practice in devotional practice. You see, up until now, our 5 senses have been restless for the world. They have desired to see, hear, taste, touch, and smell the world. This is how we fell in love with the world, by constantly thinking about it. But now we must make an effort to make Shri Krishna alone the subject of our 5 senses. We must make them long for the divine beloved. This is the science of devotion. We must think in the following way. When will the day come when these eyes of mine will behold the supreme beauty of the all-attractive Lord Shri Krishna? At present, worldly objects seem so desirable to my eyes. Worldly objects which hold no real beauty at all. When will my eyes feast upon the beauty of Shri Krishna, who is more beautiful than countless Kamdevs put together? We can take the combined beauty of the entire world, and still it would not equal even a billionth of the beauty that dwells in Shri Krishna. When will my eyes see that beauty? When will I hear his beautiful voice filled with nectar? When will I hear the melodious sound of his flute? Constant meditation in this manner is called sadhana, the practice of devotion. It is called sadhana, practice, because our sense organs are not suddenly going to desire Shri Krishna. It is natural for them to run to the world because they are under the control of the mind, and the mind is a product of Maya. And so is this material world. So they belong to the same category. So we will have to make an effort to divert these senses towards Shri Krishna. When will I see him? When will I hear him? When will I inhale his divine fragrance? When will I attain his divine touch? So this entails the practice of devotion. And the greatest help, of course, in this regard is the loud chanting, what we do here, what we have been practicing. Loud chanting of his names, forms, qualities, pastimes, abodes, and associates, which is called Sankirtan. So we must sing in a loud voice bhajans and kirtans that glorify God. Numerous saints, our own Gurudev have composed many devotional songs in simple language. So we may choose from these songs and sing them as we like. The practice of karam sanyas sadhana should be carried on with the help of such chanting. What else? Now some people ask whether it is not just as effective, whether it is not just as good to do a mental repetition of God's name as it is to chant in a loud voice. Jap versus Keertan. Well, the fact is that whether we repeat God's name in our mind or whether we repeat it out loud, it is one and the same thing. We are still chanting his names, forms, qualities, and glories in both cases. Therefore, both hold equal importance. But the problem is, the drawback in that is that we are not so advanced in our devotion that a mental repetition will benefit us as much as loud chanting. Meaning what? Meaning that a mental repetition of God's name benefits us only when we repeat his name with the mind completely concentrated on him. As you've heard many times, that the mind is the performer is responsible, is the performer for all our actions. It is responsible for all our activities. Therefore, it is the cause of bondage as well as liberation. So, for instance, mental repetition of Lord Krishna's name is fruitful only when Lord Krishna comes and stands right in front of you when you start repeating his name in your mind. So from this point of view, loud chanting is much more effective. Why? You see, in the early stages of devotion, and even in more advanced stages, our mind does not spontaneously get interested in God. We sit down to start practicing devotion, and yet we do not have tremendous love for him in our heart. As a result, it is not easy to meditate on him. So from this point of view, in such a situation, again, loud chanting is much more beneficial, is much more helpful. In fact, it is advantageous for us for many reasons, some of which I'm going to now disclose to you. So what are some of the benefits of Sankirtan? The first advantage of Sankirtan is that it contains a lot of matter within it. Devotional songs composed by saints such as Meera, Tulsidas, Surdas, and our own revered master, Jagadguru Shree Kripaluji Maharaj, provide a lot of matter. They describe God's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. On the other hand, when we do a mental repetition of God, when we do a mental repetition, we are more or less restricted to only the name, and that to only one name. We cannot do a mental repetition of God's qualities, his attributes, or his pastimes. So therefore, what happens? Because of this, our mind does not stay engaged for a long period of time. On the other hand, in Sankirtan provides us with much variety. For instance, if we start getting bored with chanting his names, we can start chanting his qualities. Then we can move on to chanting his pastimes. If you get bored with one pastime, you can move on to the next. When you get bored with even that, you can still think of another. There are pastimes in the scriptures, in the Bhagavatam, in the Prem Ras Madhura itself, to suit every relationship and depict every mood, every bhav that we can establish with God. You cannot get this much variety in mentally repeating his name. So this is one advantage. The second difference between Sankirtan, loud chanting, and jap is that there's no music in jap. Therefore, jap is not very interesting. In Sankirtan, we have the help of music as well as musical instruments. We sing God's glories, his names, his pastimes. On the other hand, in jap, there is no music, there are no instruments either. All we have is just a rosary or just our mind. On the other hand, in Sankirtan, the word Sankirtan itself signifies music. Music, as you know, has three parts: song, instrument, and dance. Therefore, singing is a part of music. And because of this, Sankirtan is very pleasing to the ears and consequently to the mind. Beyond the ears, beyond the senses is the mind, which experiences happiness and sorrow. Our mind likes music. So through the medium of music, we can engage our mind in the thoughts of Shri Krishna for a longer period of time. Moreover, if we take the help of some musical instrument, it is all the more better for us. And the third advantage of Sankirtan and disadvantage of jap is that when you are mentally repeating the name of God, there is no sound. When you sit down and you are mentally repeating in your mind, Radhe Radhe or Krishna Krishna, there's no sound. And because of this complete silence, you will be able to hear every little sound. The clock goes tick-tock, and you will hear it. You see, our mind is so wild and impetuous, it leaves God to go to the world immediately. There are so many distractions all around. For instance, a child starts crying. A child in the home starts crying. Your mind is disturbed. Someone drops something. Again, you are sure to be disturbed. Someone is scolding someone. Again, your mind will be disturbed. So this is the danger in jap. Your practice of devotion will be easily disturbed. And in Kirtan, it is the opposite. You are singing. You are creating a sound. Moreover, you may have some sort of a musical instrument which provides additional sound. And as a result, our mind concentrates on God much more easily. Just about all the senses will be involved in Sankirtan. So therefore, you will not even hear the other sound. As a result, the mind stays put and will not be tempted to run to the world. And finally, the last point I want to mention is that mental repetition, due to the quiet atmosphere created by mental repetition, many people fall asleep. Many people fall asleep even during Kirtan, never mind silent repetition. So sleep comes very easily to some of us. This does not happen in Sankirtan. In Sankirtan, you are singing with your mouth and clapping with your hands or playing some instrument. Moreover, your ears are listening to music and your mind is meditating on God. So again, just about every sense organ is involved in Sankirtan. So all these advantages are ours to benefit from in Sankirtan, which are not present in mental repetition of the name. Moreover, it is said that Sankirtan purifies the atmosphere. Anyone who hears Sankirtan benefits from hearing it. Even animals, birds, and insects benefit from hearing Sankirtan. It creates such a vibration. And Gaurang Mahaprabhu has beautifully stated in Ashtapadi, Pashu Pakshi Keet Adi Boli Te Na Pare, Shuni Le Hari Naam Tara Sab Tare, Japi Lete Hari Naam Apni Te Tare, Uch Sankirtane Par Upakar Kare. In other words, Sankirtan benefits everyone. So, loud chanting, Sankirtan is much more beneficial than silent repetition of God's name. All the saints in scriptures, Tulsidas ji has also proclaimed Sankirtan to be the only base, the very foundation of devotion, of bhakti in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga Yoga na yagya na jnana ek adhar naam gun gana. There are other means of liberation, there are other sadhan, there are other practices for salvation in the other ages. As stated in the Ramayana, Krit Yuga Sab Yogi Vigyani Kari Hari Dhyan Tarahi Bhav Prani त्रेता विविध यज्ञ नर करही, प्रभु ही समर्पी कर्म भव तरही। द्वापर करी रघुपति पद पूजा, नर भव तरही उपाय न दूजा। कलियुग केवल हरि गुण गाहा, गावत नर पावही भव थाहा। उमा कहूँ मैं अनुभव अपना, सत हरि भजन जगत सब सपना। And our Shri Maharaj Ji has also reinforced the same philosophy in his scripture Radha Govind Geet. Some beautiful verses. Kali karm gyan nahi, Govind Radhe, Hari naam kirtan, Hari se mila de। कली सर्व दोष खानी, गोविंद राधे, हरि नाम हरि ध्यान, हरि से मिला दे। गुण कृष्ण कीर्तन, हरि से मिला दे। जप हो या कीर्तन, गोविंद राधे। रूप ध्यान भी हो, योग दर्शन बता दे। राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे। राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे। So in Kali Yuga, devotion to Shri Krishna can only be practiced through the means of Sankirtan. So now I've told you the means to do the Sankirtan. We must practice being a karma sannyasi in private, and do the following in private. Have Shri Krishna stand in front of you. Think of him to be your master. Chant loudly the glories of his names, forms, qualities, pastimes, abodes, and associates in a loud voice. Most importantly, this chanting must be done, of course, with meditation, with Rup Dhyan on the divine form of Shri Krishna. And while meditating on him, again, we must constantly long to see him, hear him, and experience him with all our senses. And the philosophy, again, that I am expounding, as I mentioned, has the mind as the main matter behind Sankirtan, because the mind is the only doer. So, again, so visualizing Shri Krishna is compulsory. As we chant devotional songs, wherever we are, whether we are in a congregation, whether we are sitting with other devotees and having satsang, or in private, we must develop the feelings that are being suggested by these songs. And this is the way our mind will become concentrated. Along with having our mind attached to God, we must at the same time beg him for his divine love and grace. We must make our senses long for Shri Krishna, the divine beloved. And eventually we will start experiencing ecstasy. So let us pause here for a couple of minutes and sing a couple of more lines, and I will continue on. Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, sadhana karu pyare. Sadhana karu, sadhana karu, साधना करूं प्यारे, साधना करूं प्यारे। साधना का प्राण जीवन प्यारे, ध्यान बिनु सब साधना है, प्राण बिनु तनु प्यारे, प्राण बिनु तनु प्यारे। साधना करूं, साधना करूं, साधना करूं प्यारे, साधना करूं, साधना करूं, साधना करूं प्यारे, साधना करूं प्यारे। नाम गुण लीलादि कीर्तन साथ में करूं प्यारे, नाम गुण लीलादि कीर्तन साथ करूं प्यारे, साथ में करूं प्यारे। साधना करूं, साधना करूं, साधना करूं प्यारे, साधना करूं, साधना करूं, साधना करूं प्यारे, साधना करूं प्यारे। साधना करूं, साधना करूं प्यारे, साधना करूं, साधना करूं, साधना करूं प्यारे, साधना करूं प्यारे, Now, many people, many devotees, many aspirants wonder how they can judge where they are and how much they have advanced, how much they are advancing towards God. Well, when you are traveling in the world, there are milestones that you come across. You see milestones that tell you exactly how much you have advanced on your path. Similarly, on the path of God realization, there are milestones in the spiritual realm as well. Looking at these milestones, we can judge for ourselves whether we are on the right path, if we are on the right path, and how much we have advanced on our path. The very first milestone you will see in the practice of devotion is the presence of tears. It is said that the day we begin to shed tears for Shri Krishna is in fact the very first day of our sadhana. Whatever we did before that was just in preparation for the sadhana. So shedding of tears is our aim in the practice of devotion. The great sage Naraji has defined devotion in the following terms. He says, Tadvismarane parama vyakulata. Practicing devotion to Shri Krishna means developing an intense desire for him. Such an intense desire that makes it difficult for you to live without him. Each and every pore of our being should cry out for him. There should be a stream of tears flowing from the eyes. This is called devotion. This is real devotion. For example, when you are away from your loved ones in the world, you miss them. Say your husband, your wife, or your son. What happens? You miss them. Your heart cries for them. Then what happens? Your eyes become moist with tears. So the presence of tears is an indication, similarly, is an indication of our love for God. If we're not crying for him, it means that we do not yet have a real love. We have not yet developed a real love for him in our heart. And what do tears do? What will tears do? Tears will wash the heart and purify it. The Bhagavatam explains, Yatha yathatma parimrijyate sahu mat punyagatha shravanabhidhanaihi tatha tatha pashyati vastu sukshmam chakshuryathaivanjana samprayuktam. 11:14-26 Bhagavad. Just as, the Bhagavad explains that just as kajal, collyrium, a medicinal eyeliner, kajal washes away the impurities of the eyes and helps us see even small objects more clearly, in the same way, tears of devotion wash away the impurities of the mind and lead us towards God. Help us get closer. So the practice of devotion, of course, sadhana, is of the utmost importance. As we advance in our practice, we will start having divine experiences. Bhav, divya bhav. Then our mind will be fixed on God. As long as we don't practice devotion, we waver between surety and doubt. And without this practice of devotion, we can neither benefit from our guru, from a guru, nor can we solve our doubts regarding God. So, tears are of the utmost importance. So we must, in other words, cleanse our heart with tears of love for Shri Krishna. And also, bear in mind that whatever I'm telling you about the practice of devotion is all in accordance to the Vedas and the Scriptures. All the saints have also emphasized the need to purify the heart through the practice of devotion. There's no other means to purify the heart. We can believe this today and take full advantage of this human form and practice devotion in this way, or we can believe it countless lifetimes afterwards, later. But the answer will be the same. The method, the process will be the same. Without tears, you cannot purify the heart. Without tears, we cannot melt Shri Krishna's heart, the heart of our divine beloved. Then how will he shower his grace on us? So tears are absolutely necessary. If someone comes to you wearing yellow robes and tells you that there's another means to purify the heart, then do not believe him or her. Many so-called holy people will tell you that it is enough to recite the scriptures, to recite the Hanuman Chalisa, for instance, or to offer ritualistic prayers to Mother Durga and so on, and that tears are not necessary. No, do not believe them. Always bear in mind that we may read the Gita even, or the Ramayana as many times as we like, but we cannot attain God without shedding tears for him. Our aim is to attain Shri Krishna, and there's only one way to attain him. Milahina Raghupati Binu Anuraga. He cannot be attained without love. And the definition of love is Tadvismarane Parama Vyakulata. Having an intense yearning, developing such an intense yearning for him. And what is the recognition of this yearning? A continuous flow of tears from the eyes. Nayanam galadashrudharaya vadanam gadgadruddhaya gira pulkair nichitam vapuhukada tavanamagrahane bhavishyati. Gaurang Mahaprabhu. There are relevant verses, statements, quotes found in Western philosophy as well. Cry unto the Lord with a longing and yearning heart, and then you shall see him. Regularly practice devotion, and you shall see God. Practice is absolutely necessary. We never understand until we experience. And just to elaborate on that point, and we can never experience until we practice. So, and one other final quote, simply listening to explanations and theories will not do. So therefore, Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu, Sadhana Karu Pyare. So I will take rest here, pause here, and we will continue on with this topic tomorrow with these words. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki, Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे।